I'm not sure if you remember, but on July 12th, I posted a video where I was in this same harness pulling a tire on gravel roads. Part of the reason I was doing that was training for the upcoming end of December Tuscobia Winter Ultra. Like many other things during the pandemic, the Tuscobia Winter Ultra was canceled. And so you may say, well, why was he doing all that training? Then it was lost. Well, one of my aspects about it is that training is about life. It's not event focused. It has purpose in all aspects of life. And today, there's the sled behind me. And this is the same harness. However, a friend of mine, Mary, did some alterations to it. One of the things about winter ultras is that you need to be visible, because oftentimes they're done on groomed snowmobile paths. Makes life much easier because people do it on foot and on Nordic skis and on fat bikes. And so you need to be visible, which may be another topic for another time about being visible, when a lot of us at times kind of want to be invisible and blend in. But anyway, the sled behind me is a nice little light plastic sled. Pulls much easier than that tire. Plus, we get the opportunity for it to just kind of glide along on this nice snowpack. A friend of mine, Ryan, does winter events as well. He does more than I do. Partially, he does all of them on his fat bike, which is kind of interesting to me. He's got a fat bike and so do I, and it's kind of fun to be out on it in the winter and, well, actually all season, because my fat bike is the only bike I have. Ryan, however, has 5 bikes. He has some not only for every season, but it seems to me for almost every situation. And I often give him a hard time saying, Ryan, what are you doing with all those bikes? Because you're riding one and the other 4 are sitting in your garage or your basement. You can only ride one at a time. He just shakes his head and says, Tim, I still don't have enough bikes. So when I give Ryan a hard time, I need to remember something myself. If you look over my shoulder, that's part of what I was hauling in the sled. Snowshoes. If you look closely, you can see that there are 3 distinctive types of snowshoes. Yes, indeed. And I have a pair on my feet, which I'll show you later. But I have 4 pair of snowshoes. How many can I wear at one time? You guessed it, the same as I tell Ryan, 1. But you know, you need lots of different snowshoes. Why? Well, different situations, different things that come up, different snow conditions. Why are you out there? The whitish one is a smaller snowshoe. It's meant for groomed trails. It's meant for high speed or possibly even running, although it might be a little bit big for running, but people run in snowshoes. If you look at the other snowshoes back behind, they're larger. Those are often called expedition snowshoes. So if you're in deep powdery snow where no one has made a path or groomed a trail, or if you're carrying a pack or going out hiking or going to go winter camping, the longer and the wider the snowshoe, the more flotation. the better able you are to take up a lot of different terrain and meet the challenges that are ahead. The snowshoes, hopefully you can see them, that I currently have on, are fairly small as well. This was my original pair. These snowshoes, hopefully they're coming through, I'm not real good at this, are meant for running. They're aluminum, where that other small pair that was white that I showed you is foam. I can use these where there's a trail or minimal amounts of snow, and sometimes you get into a little deeper snow, but these will work. They're light, they're handy, they're good. So, different equipment for different situations. So what are the situations of life that we find ourselves coming into? You know, we live in a culture at times that wants to say one size fits all. And I understand that. That's part of the reason I have one bike. I use it for all purposes, but it may not necessarily be the best tool for the job all the time. Yet how many tools do you need? 4 pair of snowshoes? It's all right. You can make comments and say, Tim, you've got way too many. But hopefully I use them and I bring the right tool for the job, but sometimes that's not the case. So what's the point of all this besides being out in a nice quiet winter January landscape? I think at times we want everything to just fit nicely into one size fits all. We don't want to think at times or struggle or work or say, maybe what worked in that situation won't work in this one. Where I'm going with this is, what do we do with our spiritual life? It's easy, if that's part of your tradition or discipline, to show up in church, go for an hour or whatever, and now during the pandemic to watch it online or watch it on television, or in some ways kind of do your part. But as the pandemic brought up new challenges, not just economically, but physically, emotionally, spiritually, what worked in the past, does it work now? For myself, my faith has been a constant changing journey, that sometimes there's a nice path and it's pretty easy going, and at other times I've gone into areas, and I don't mean that geographically, into areas of my mind, of life, of relationships that are pretty deep, pretty tough going. And sometimes in those depths and struggles, I need a whole different relationship of spirituality than I do when everything's going well. We're in the midst of changes. I'm in the midst of changes, not just a change into a different year and a change into a different aspect of our living with COVID-19, but a different aspect of life. Indeed, I move into retirement, whatever that means. But I've constantly been changing some of my work, or how I do it, or when I do it, or what it means to me, and ponder what does it mean going forward, and how do I keep vital and active and a sense of value in the midst of all the changes. That's why we need different equipment. It's why we need a different support group at times too. Sometimes the friends who we use most of the time aren't the ones we need in the depths of new discoveries. Sometimes we have a lot of friends who are fun and great as long as the surface is smooth and life is good. So one size fits all, does it really? Part of the challenge, part of the discovery of life is finding what fits for a particular situation. That, to me, is where life is found, where the depth of our being is discovered, where a sense of serenity and peace come welling up in the fact that we've experienced challenges, we've faced them, and we've kept moving. Thank you for listening, and may you go out and discover new aspects of life and yourself, your friendships, your relationships, and your spirituality. Thank you for listening and watching.